Imagine a world where science and spirituality weren't rivals but partners, a world where a single footnote could span continents, and a scholar's journey could take decades. Today, we're tracing the heartbeat of Islamic civilization through its sciences, how knowledge was discovered, preserved, debated, and shared. By the end of this video, you won't just remember names. You'll see the living ecosystem that made them possible. What do we mean by sciences? In the Islamic tradition, sciences weren't just physics or chemistry. They were disciplines of knowing, from revelation-centered sciences like Qur'anic studies and Hadith, to rational sciences like logic, mathematics, medicine, and astronomy, to the humanities. Language, law, ethics, and historiography. Each had methods, institutions, and chains of transmission. Let's move on to the House of Wisdom and the Translation Movement. Our story often opens in Abbasid Baghdad with Bayt al-Hikma, the House of Wisdom. Here, translators like Hunayn ibn Ishaq rendered Greek, Syriac, and Persian works into Arabic, not as rote copies, but as living texts to debate and develop. This wasn't cultural imitation, it was integration. Algebra from al-Khwarizmi didn't merely preserve mathematics, it invented a new language for it. The word algorithm? That's him. Quick question. What's a scientific idea you thought was modern, but actually isn't? Drop it in the comments. What is the sciences of revelation? Quranic sciences grew into vast disciplines, recitation modes, qira'at, exegesis, tafsir, and principles of interpretation. Hadith sciences developed a rigorous method, evaluating chains of transmission, isnad, alongside content, matn. Scholars like al-Bukhari traveled thousands of miles to test narrators' reliability. Law, or fiqh, and its principles, usul al-fiqh, systematized how to reason with text, context, and consensus. Think of it as a methodology lab for ethics and society. Let's discuss reason and revelation in conversation. Then came kalam and falsafa, disciplines where Muslim theologians and philosophers asked, what is the nature of existence? Can reason prove God's existence? How do we know what we know? Figures like Al-Farabi, Ibn Sina, Al-Ghazali, and Ibn Rushd debated causality, the soul, and the limits of reason, disagreeing sharply but sharpening methods for centuries. What about mathematics and astronomy? If revelation asked why, astronomy and math asked how. Observatories from Maragha to Samarkand refined planetary models. Trigonometry advanced beyond classical forms. Al-Biruni measured Earth's circumference with astonishing accuracy. Later, scholars like Tusi proposed models that would echo in European astronomy. Moving on to medicine and the empirical turn medicine, fuse theory and practice. Ibn Sina's canon synthesized Greco-Arabic medicine into a standard text for centuries. Razi distinguished smallpox from measles and advocated controlled experimentation. Hospitals, Baimaristans, in Damascus and Cairo, institutionalized care, teaching, and record-keeping. Let's discuss geography, travel, and the map of the mind. Geography wasn't just maps, it was networks. Al-Idrisi's Tabula Rogeriana compiled global knowledge in Sicily. Travel literature, from Ibn Battuta to Nasir Khusrau, mapped cultures and economies. Knowledge moved with people, merchants, pilgrims, scholars, and artisans. Which travel account would you want us to cover next? Idrisi's world map or Ibn Battuta's road diary? Tell us below. Let's look at language, literature, and logic, grammar, Inani-AEW, rhetoric, balagha, and logic, mantiq, form the toolkit behind scholarship. Think of them as the operating system of medieval learning, ensuring clarity in argument and precision in interpretation. This linguistic rigor powered everything from legal rulings to poetry. What about Sufism and the science of the heart? Alongside law and logic grew a discipline of the self, tasawwuf. Manuals by al-Kushairi and al-Hujwiri map spiritual psychology, intention, sincerity, discipline, as rigorously as any technical field, aiming at ihsan, excellence in worship and character, institutions of learning. None of this thrives without institutions. Mosques and madrasas formalize curricula. Libraries catalog massive collections. Endowments, waqf, funded chairs, stipends, and even paper. The ijazah system credentialed mastery through teacher-student chains, preserving quality across centuries. Women were not absent. From Aisha bint Abu Bakr's hadith expertise to Fatima al-Fihri founding al-Qarawiyyin, and countless female transmitters who granted ijazat, the chains of knowledge include them. Moving on to East-West in the circulation of ideas. Knowledge traveled both ways. Translations into Latin in Toledo and Sicily carried Arabic science into Europe. Later, Ottoman, Safavid, and Mughal courts sponsored new syntheses. The story isn't a line, it's a web. Why it matters now. In a time of siloed disciplines, this history reminds us, progress comes from conversations across boundaries, text and test, faith and reason, lab and library. The Islamic sciences modeled peer review, open critique, and ethical inquiry long before modern journals. If this journey sparked something, here's what to do next. First, subscribe to the Hikma Hub. This is episode 1 in a series unpacking each discipline with manuscripts, maps, and methods. Second, comment with the scholar or field you want next. Hadith methodology, Ibn Sina's medical cases, or the Maragha Observatory. Third, share this with a friend who thinks the past is silent. They might hear echoes. Until next time, may your search for knowledge be blessed. May the peace of Allah be on all of you. Assalamu alaikum, and see you in the next lesson.